protests. RT's Charlotte Dubinsky tells us more.
France and protest. The two go arm in arm like two lovers strolling around Paris. In fact, the French seem to love protesting so much it's almost a national sport. But it's a sport that has a very nasty streak. The Yellow Vest protest group are probably the best known. They've been out in force since November 17th, so that's now 11 weekends. They say the government's not doing enough despite the concessions and a national debate that's taking place. And the Yellow Vests are determined to stick it out. They've already planned Act 12 before we even got to the 12th weekend. But their protests have often descended into violence that's been described as the worst in more than half a century.
I will not concede anything to those who want destruction and disorder.
In true French fashion, there's now an anti-protest protest. Meet the red scarves. They're so unhappy about the violence and the destruction that's taken place during the Yellow Vest protests that they've now formed their own group. And they're out in force.
Why are there demonstrations today? It's because many people have had enough of the pointless violence in this country.
The Red Scarves are demonstrating, I believe, to defend the principle of non-violence and to defend democracy too.
It's to emphasize the importance of liberty and democracy, as we are facing a movement in France that's attempting to restrict our freedoms.
I have chosen to come here to defend democracy and freedom, but peacefully, without violence.
Well, if you thought this was just the red protesters against the yellow protesters, think again. There is also now a team bleu. Yes, that's right. The blue vests are also anti-yellow vests and they're anti-violence. So what you've got at the moment is the yellow vest protesters in the middle, and on each side there are the blue vests and you've got the red scarves. Remind you of something? Yes, that's right. It's almost like the tricolore, the French flag. And it seems that just like the French motto of liberté, égalité and fraternité, it's living on in the French spirit. So the French, regardless of what size they're on, still have this fraternity with each other, albeit in their ability to protest or to protest a protest of a protest, or something like that. Charlotte Dubinsky, RT, Paris.
Well, some are clearly losing patience with the Yellow Vests' particular brand of protest. The movement itself has also faced a strong clampdown from authorities, at times leading to serious injury. Jerome Rodriguez, a leading member of the movement, was hit in the face by a flashball projectile. He says he may lose the sight in his right eye.
J'ai le globe oculaire qui a été recousu.
I've had my eyeballs stitched up because of the impact. As to whether I'm going to regain my sight, I will find out in 1 or 2 weeks. I'm extremely angry because these are things that should not be happening today in France. What they are doing is totally unacceptable. I have to recover and I will return to the protests as soon as I can, because the battle will be long and tough, but we have a goal, for a better France and for a more humane world.
Major roads in Madrid have been brought to a standstill as taxi drivers in Spain